On the news at 3, Governor Fubara shows his administration's commitment to complete Port Harcourt Ring Road by October. Federal government poised to concession waterways to drive revenue growth, and suspension of ban on sachet alcohol. Federal government makes U-turn. This is the news at 3. Thank you for joining us. My name is Ibigoni Kalio. Do you love and care about River State and our peace? Let's build and take her to greater heights. It's a task we must accomplish. You can watch our news live on Facebook, Rstv Online. You can as well subscribe and click the notification bell for updates on our live feeds. Now, River State Governor says Siminalayi Fubara has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to completing the Port Harcourt Ring Road project in October this year. Governor Fubara gave the assurance during an inspection of the ongoing 50.1 kilometer road project.
The 62.5 kilometers Port Harcourt Ring Road project crisscross communities in 6 local government areas of Port Harcourt, Obiakpo, Ikwere, Eche, Oyibo, and Eleme. At the Eneka First Market section of the project, Governor Fubara told journalists that construction activities is gradually picking up again, which is a sign that the multi-billion naira project is back on track. Governor Fubara explained that despite funding challenges, talks between the state government and the contractor have been positive, resulting in the company's decision to resume full operations on site.
To confirm the commitment that Julius Berger gave to us, we've been in talk with them. We are aware that these projects were all, I wouldn't say abandoned, but somehow, for lack of fund, the contractor withdrew from the site. So we've been discussing with them, and they gave me their word that although we have not finished all the discussion, but they will move into site, and I'm here to confirm that.
Governor Fubara has also given firm assurance that the Ring Road project, considered as one of the most ambitious transport projects in the state, will be delivered. Tamun Nobarabi Iblubo, Rstv News.
Now, funding inclusive and well-equipped education centers will grant children with disabilities access to better learning facilities as equal citizens of the society. Convener of the Friends of the Deaf International Foundation, Fumilola Ogunro, made the remarks at the Inclusive Spelling Bee competition in Port Harcourt. Nnamdi Olimini reports.
Ms. Ogunro said the purpose of the Spelling Bee competition was to canvass for inclusiveness, advocacy, and support for children with disabilities, noting that one school is not enough and appeal for the establishment of more inclusive education centers in the 23 local government areas of River State. According to her, the event also aims at celebrating their unique differences, their capabilities, potentials, and skills like other children in the society. She further stated that the society should stop discriminating against children with disabilities because it is their right to be educated, while calling on parents with such children not to be ashamed but present them for enrollment into inclusive education centers.
This program today is a movement for inclusion, for accessibility, and for the government to do more. According to the UNCRPD Article 24, it is a right of the children. Education of the right, inclusion, that children with disabilities should learn in their community, not outside, not far away.
The keynote speaker, Professor Adaka Ahon of the Federal University, Lafia, said inclusive education helps to boost the intellectual capabilities of children with disabilities, improve their self-esteem, and confidence. He called on government to open more doors for children with disabilities through the recruitment and employment of sign language teachers and provision of learning facilities.
State government requires recruitment of, training and retention and employment of inclusive personnel, the sign language interpreters, the braillists, and all others that are needed for them to make such an school inclusive. Without that, it cannot be possible. And of course, they also need to vote money and bring in the required facilities, the equipment that are needed.
In a goodwill message, the President's Center for Disability Partnership and Development, Kie Obomanu, sued for greater accessibility and integration for children with disabilities and the establishment of inclusive schools in the 3 senatorial districts of Rivers State. He said children with disabilities can have comparative advantage over normal children because they have talents and abilities beyond comprehension, while calling for the inclusion of sign language teaching and learning into the school curriculum.
What we are asking is, we have many more of these kind of programs. Encourage individuals who are interested in taking up projects like this in order to develop persons with disability, develop their potentials. They have a lot of ability, and also to appeal that sign language should also be incorporated in the school curriculum so that persons with hearing impairment do not end up talking to only themselves.
3 schools, including Glory Rain Special Academic Center, Master International Education Center, and OV Inclusive Academy, participated in the competition. Nnamdi Olimini, Rstv News.
On the flip side of the bulletin, 9 people killed, 27 others injured in mass school shooting in Canada. Details of this and more in just a moment.
Rstv, your source for authentic coverage. View us on YouTube Rstv Online, Facebook, and GoTV at channel 142.
Welcome back. Now, the federal government has directed the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control to suspend all enforcement actions related to the proposed ban on sachet alcohol and 200mm per bottle alcoholic products. The government also warned the agencies to immediately stop sealing factories and warehouses over the issue. In a statement by the Special Advisor on Public Affairs to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Terence Kuanum, said the order followed a joint intervention by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the Office of the National Security Advisor, which raised the concerns over the security implications of continued enforcement in the absence of a fully implemented national alcohol policy. He said although the national alcohol policy had been signed by the Federal Ministry of Health in line with the directive of President Bola Tinubu, both offices insisted that NAFDAC must refrain from all enforcement measures until the policy is fully implemented and further directives are issued. According to the statement, the continued sealing of warehouses and what it described as a de facto ban on sachet alcohol products without a harmonized policy framework was already causing economic disruptions and posing security risks, particularly due to its impact on jobs, supply chains, and informal distribution networks nationwide. Kuanum said the position reinforced an earlier directive issued by the SGF's office in December 2025, which suspended all actions relating to the proposed ban pending consultations and a final decision, and assured Nigerians and industry stakeholders that a final decision will be communicated after consultations and interagency coordination in the interest of public health, economic stability, and national security. The Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Boyega Oyetola, has directed the Nigerian Inland Waterways to commercialize and concession some major waterways to boost revenue generation in the marine and blue economy sector. He gave the charge during NIWA's anti-corruption training on strengthening integrity and revenue systems for board members, managers, and area managers in Abuja. The minister, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary Hajia Fatima Sugra Tabia Muhammad, added that there will be no room for excuses, as the federal government alone does not have the fiscal space to fund all dredging projects, port infrastructure, safety equipment, and enforcement needs. He also stated that Coast Guards have extended time limit at the boarding points as a part of efforts to monitor and curb the incidence of boat mishaps. On revenue generation, he said the authority is making efforts to digitize its activities to capture all revenues coming into the agency. Also speaking, the chairman of Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, said ICPC is willing and ready to work within the confines of its enabling law to help agencies such as NIWA to prevent corruption through various prevention tools, including corruption risk assessment and capacity building. To the foreign scene, where at least 9 people have been killed and 27 others injured in a mass school shooting in a town in northeastern British Columbia. The Canadian police said a suspected attacker was also found dead from what appeared to be a self-inflicted injury, adding that authorities do not believe there were any other suspects or an ongoing threat to the public. The police, responding to reports of a shooting at about 1:20 p.m. local time, found 6 people dead inside a Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. A 7th victim died while being taken to hospital. 2 more victims' bodies were found at a nearby house, which police believe is connected to the attack. Authorities said they had identified the attacker, but have not yet publicly released the name or confirmed the sex of the suspect. A student at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, Darian Quist, said an alarm sounded shortly after he arrived in class, announcing a lockdown and instructing students to shut classroom doors. To sports now, where Tottenham Hotspur have sacked head coach Thomas Frank. The Premier League club announced that Frank's dismissal came following Tuesday's 2-1 defeat at home to Newcastle that left Spurs 16th in the Premier League and just 5 points above the relegation zone. Tottenham said they had been determined to give Frank the time support needed to build for the future together, but recent results meant a change was necessary. Frank took over as head coach in June after Ange Postecoglou was sacked and signed a deal until 2028, but proved unable to notably improve the club's league form despite strong results in European competition. Against